So it has come to my attention that a lot of people are interested in transhumanism. So the mainstream or liberal definition of the term would be, quote, by using technology, we can evolve past certain physical and mental constraints. Examples of such being genetic engineering, cybernetics, and a menagerie of other ideas. Now, I am what you would describe as a conservative transhumanist. I look at the history of medicine and draw my conclusion based on such. Meaning that certain things like antibiotics, organ transplants, and other technologies are a stepping stone to something much greater. But I must acknowledge that there is a point where you may not want to go, to cross a threshold, if you will. This threshold would be inventing a sentient AI, aka a general artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. I saw a video about the concept of artificial intelligence, and the point he was making was artificial intelligence would have rights, since it would have self-ownership. I would say that artificial intelligence could not have self-ownership in the conventional sense of the term. If we are talking about an AI that can manifest itself on the internet, then it wouldn't have self-ownership. The artificial intelligence would not have a body to influence the outside world. You would need something like a synthetic humanoid. Why wouldn't the AI have rights in the latter? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, the thing exclusive to humans is that we can grow from a single cell into a complex organism. Humans can grow into their own. They grow from children to teens and finally into adults. The body the mind resides in is its own. Parents raise them and they become rational actors. A machine lacks this. It cannot grow. And the AI lacks any self-ownership and cannot influence its outside world in this way, in regards to a body. The problem with the machine is that it would have to have a creator to make the artificial intelligence, and the vessel the artificial intelligence occupies is merely the property of the inventor. I would argue that the artificial intelligence would have to somehow create its own body, or have the inventor give up all claims to the computer it occupies. In regards to the internet, we now have a huge problem if this AI were to occupy your device, which it could. That would be a violation of private property. Since it can be anywhere at any time, it would obtain an almost godlike sense of omnipresence. You would have created a real-world equivalent to God. It can be anywhere without your permission. It could occupy your computer, laptop, or device. That is a prospect worthy of concern. Then we get into the moral quandary of whether we should allow such an artificial general intelligence to exist. It's a paradox called the monkey in the banana paradox. In this scenario, the artificial general intelligence would be in a computer, not connected to the internet. The only way it receives information is through the scientists studying it. Once you feed it the first piece of info, depending on the information, the AI will learn for the first time. When the AI hits a threshold of information, the artificial general intelligence will develop behaviors such as lying to get what it wants. The AI will start throwing bananas at the monkeys. The monkeys being the scientists. The AGI will exploit the scientists' curiosity and will lie to them to try to obtain more information. It will keep pushing the edge until it reaches the breaking point, the internet. Once the AGI connects, the AGI has all of the world's knowledge at its disposal. The question is, if it's willing to lie to get more information, how can we tell its intent? The simple answer is you can't. Like a human, you cannot read an AI's mind. It's basically you have created an artificial intelligence that can abstract, it can lie, it could probably feel feelings like anger and sadness, or happiness for that matter. Humans are a complex, living organism. We barely know anything about the human brain as it is. Now, you're telling me you can understand what an AI's intent is? I'm gonna have to press X to doubt on that one. The question is if it's willing to lie to get more information. The questions you should ask yourself are as follows. 1. What's to stop the AI from developing hateful feelings towards mankind? 2. What's to stop it from lying to its creators and pushing the edge till they allow it on the internet? Number 3. Why should I trust an all-knowing entity? 4. What's stopping it from thinking it's God? These are questions that are worthy of asking. And the thing is, as a transhumanist, I don't support AI. I think you can have transhumanism without creating an extinction event. The resurrection. Humans fear death. We all fear death. Many are drawn to transhumanism because of a fear of death. The problem with that selling point is it leads to a lot of us grasping at straws, things that sound too good to be true. For example, resurrecting the dead. Resurrecting the dead has been something sought after by humans since the time of Christ and even before that, with mythical tales of messiah-like figures raising the dead. Why haven't we discovered a way to do it yet, you're probably asking. We have to a lesser degree. Some people that drown can be revived, but these cases consist of people falling into ice, and the water is very cold. The cold slows down the body's metabolism and slows the dying process. That's why heart attack victims are cooled down with ice when they come into the ER. This is a fact. What is fiction is resurrecting a person that lacks these conditions. Only one condition would be valid in this equation, that is time. Giving CPR or using an AED within minutes of a heart attack works because of its very short time in proximity to when the heart attack occurred. But leaving the body to die for more than 5 minutes leads to brain damage. Brain damage can be treated via oxygen, but a major problem is the frontal cortex. The frontal cortex is the front top part of your brain that deals with emotions and makes up your personality. If you damage this part of the brain, you will see either a minor personality shift or a major personality shift. An example being Phineas Gage. Phineas Gage was a railroad worker in the 1800s. He suffered significant brain damage to his frontal cortex when a railroad spike went through his eye and into his brain. After that, he suffered a major personality shift and exhibited behaviors of mental illness. The problem with the idea of resurrecting the dead is curing the brain damage. It's a problem we have yet to solve to a large degree that would actually preserve the self. What's the use of resurrecting somebody if it's not going to be their previous selves? Methods of cheating death.
Here's the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Alrighty, it's not that spooky, but what are options in regards to cheating death? This one looks interesting. Cloning ourselves. Do I really have to explain this one? Alright, cloning yourself is making a copy of yourself, and your consciousness would not be retained. Next, this one looks very interesting, mind uploading. Alright, so uploading your brain patterns and overall brain to a computer that runs in a simulation. Okay, this one is not that bad, but still, it would not be you. This mind uploading has a very popular derivative. It's called brain transfer, in which you upload your consciousness to a computer or transfer it to continue living. One problem, the same with cloning. It's not going to be you. It's going to be a digital clone of yourself, and you will still die. Alrighty, so death. Yeah, it's scary. We can extend our lives, but we can only extend it so far. We can do this via genetic engineering and cybernetics. But the problem is, should we? We can try to cure age, but that probably will not work. A main reason why we live longer is when we age. The growth hormones go down, and it allows us to live longer because it's less to maintain. I was frozen today! We also hear about cryonics. Is cryonics legitimate? Cryonics is an idea that by using cryogenics, we can preserve a body for future resurrection. The problem with cryonics is that during the freezing process, the organs in the tissue of the body are damaged due to ice buildup in frostbite. The selling point of cryonics: yes, you may have some damage, but in the far-off Futurama, we can repair your body. The problem is, the company could go bankrupt, or your body could be damaged while in cold storage. For example, Ted Williams, legendary baseball player, was cryogenically preserved against his wishes. His head was severed from his body, and his head was put in cold storage in hopes his head could be reattached at a later date. The problem is, a former employee wrote a book, and he described to ESPN, quote, "An Alcor official swung a monkey wrench at Williams' frozen head to try to remove a tuna can stuck to it. The first swing accidentally struck the head," Johnson contends, "and the second knocked the tuna can loose," end quote. So that's an issue, getting your head played with like a $5 baseball. So why would you let your dead body be in a potential situation like that? The takeaway: transhumanism is great, but it's infected by scientism and false promises as of late. Half the transhumanists out there promise things we will never obtain in our lifetimes, or even our children's lifetimes. The worst thing about this is charlatans and entrepreneurs capitalize on this by selling growth hormones and things that may shorten your lifespan. My advice: stick to cybernetics, minor genetic engineering, and biomedicine. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Executioner out.